cold calling, right? So first, I'm gonna let you know the best cold calling dialers to use. I got three of them. It's mojosales.com, zencall.com, and calltool.com. Now these are all dialers where you can enter numbers in and they'll dial them for you. That way you can get going. This will save you a lot of time. Okay, this will save you a lot of time with cold calling. This is gonna make you the most effective and efficient one person cold caller. So if you have a team, you can work with teams on ZenCall and all these dialer apps, right? So when you're cold calling, I'm going to give you some tips, right? That's what this video is about, right? So when you get on the phone with the seller, you don't want to sound like a salesman. That's what you don't want to do. You do not want to sound like a salesman. You want to sound like a family friend. You want to sound like someone who's just trying to help. You want to sound like someone that the seller would do business with, because people do not do business with people they don't like. You know what I'm saying? So people do not do business with people they don't like. So you want to build rapport. My bad. You want to build rapport with the seller, right? So you want to ask the seller how they doing today. If you hear a football game in the back, you want to, hey, what game are you watching? Hey, I'm watching that game too. You can put it like a little cap in there, just to make a connection between you and the seller. Any way y'all can connect, it builds trust and it makes the process smoother. You know what I mean? And also, one thing you never want to do when cold calling is mention a price before building a rapport. Build a relationship with the seller before you mention anything about a price, right? Because that's going to set you up to put you in the best position possible to close the deal, okay? So when you get on the phone with the seller, you don't want to be super scared. You don't want to be scared. You need to get that out your body. You don't need to be scared to cold call. What do you have to lose? What's the worst thing a seller could say? A seller could say no. You know what I mean? So if they say no, guess what? You're still the same person. Nothing's going to happen. So don't be scared. Remember, only you can make yourself money, right? Nobody can make money for you. No one can change your situation. Only you can. So hop on that phone, make those calls, and make something happen, right? So when you call someone, you want to just say, hey, you already know their name because you skip traced them. Hey, Mr. Taylor, my name is Keyshawn. Hey, Mr. Taylor, my name is Keyshawn. I'm a local investor in the area, and I was wondering, would you be interested in potentially selling your property on 123 Main Street? Right? Come right out the gate. Either they're going to say yes or they're going to say no. They say yes, you need to ask them some questions, right? You must ask these questions when you're on the phone with a seller. First, you need to ask what is the condition of the property, right? Ask them what's the last time they repaired the AC, the roof, the kitchen, the bathrooms. Ask them have they repaired it in the last 5 years. Are there any updates to the house? You want to just basically kind of get in their business. You know what I mean? All right. Another question you want to ask is, how soon are you looking to sell? Right? Ask them how soon they're looking to sell. And like what I like to say is, hey, Mr. Taylor, if we were able to agree on the price today, how fast would you be able to close? You know what I mean? If we were able to agree on the price right now, how fast would you be able to close? Simple. How soon could you close? Ask them that. That's a great question to ask. And the reason you're asking that because you want to see what time frame are they looking at. That way you can let your buyers know what time frame they're looking at. You know what I mean? This is great information for the buyers. Oh yeah, my bad. I didn't explain the first question, right? The reason why you're asking the condition of the property is because you need info on the condition of the property because the pictures of the property may not be updated, and you want to be able to estimate your repair costs the best way possible. You know what I mean? And I'm going to teach you how to estimate repair costs. But that's the reason why you want to ask about the condition of the property. Because if you look at the photos and it looks like the AC is okay, but those photos were took 3 years ago, and now you ask the seller, is the AC okay? They say no, the AZ's been broke and it's gonna take $5,000 to fix that, right? Well, just off the photos, without talking to the seller, you wouldn't have known about that extra $5,000 that you need to budget in your estimated repair costs, right? When you present this to a buyer. So that's the reason why you want to ask the condition, and I also told you the reason why you want to ask how soon they're looking to close. Okay, another question that you want to ask is basically say, hey, Mr. Seller, do you have a particular price point that you have for the property? I am a investor, so me and my team had to get at a price to where we could profit while give you the best offer possible. So I was just trying to see where you were at, right? You want to see how much they want for their property, right? You just want to look in the ballpark. You know what I mean? Because I know sellers might think that you're trying to lowball them. You let them know, you know, be transparent with them. You know, let them know if you're giving them a low offer, let them know why you're giving them a low offer. Well, Mr. Seller, hey, I looked at the market. The market is very slow during the pandemic. The market is very slow right now. That's the reason why my offer is a little lower than what you would like. But I can tell you this, Mr. Seller, we are the best when it comes to convenience. We can close quickly. It won't cost you any money out of pocket, and you won't have to pay any realtor commissions. You know what I mean? Just let them know what you do. You know, let them know why the offer is low. Some sellers might not like the offer being low. Some sellers have, because I'm gonna tell you this. One thing about people is that a lot of people think their house is worth more than what it's actually worth. You know, and they're not gonna go on Zillow and run comps. You know, some people just might call a realtor, and the realtor might give them a retail price. You know, a retail price like an on market price when that's really not how much it's really worth. You know what I mean? So, or people might have friends say, "Well, my friend told me my house is worth 200,000." In reality, his house is worth 200,000 when it's fixed up, but it's not worth 200,000 right now. So you have to know that. So you have to explain that and get that point across on the phone. You know what I mean? The reason why your offer is what it is, right? And then also another question you want to ask is you want to ask the reason for selling, right? So what I like to say is, hey, Mr. Taylor, is there a specific reason why you're interested in selling? You know what I mean? And you do this only when you're calling to see if they're interested in selling. And they say yes, and then you ask them, well, why are you interested in selling? Is there a specific reason? You know what I mean? If you are calling on Zillow, don't do this because they're obviously interested in selling because they have their property listed on Zillow. So you don't want to do this. But when you're calling like a list, yes, you want to do this. All right, now we're going to talk about objections. You know what I mean? Because basically talks can go smooth, but there could be objections, things that the seller say that could trip you up and mess you up during the call. So I'm going to teach you what to say. Also, you should be writing notes right now, hopefully. Hopefully you've been writing notes. I'm going to put that after the first video. Please write notes to help you. But don't write. One thing I don't want you to do, I don't want you to write a lot of notes and never take action. And this goes for any of my courses, anything on this platform. I don't want you to write all these notes, know all this information, and get drowned about how much information there is and never take action. You need to go take action. Okay? So one objection you might get on the phone is, have you seen inside my property before, right? And what you want to say is, no, Mr. Seller. No, Mr. Taylor. We haven't seen inside the property, but we're looking to acquire property in that area, so we would need to ask you a few questions to help us run our numbers and be able to give you a fair offer. You know what I mean? You tell them, I haven't seen inside the property, but we're looking to buy property in that area, so if I ask you a few questions, we'll have enough info to be able to give you a cash offer. That's what you're saying. Another objection you might get is, what's your offer? You know, people ask all the time, you know, they want, some people don't like all the report talk. They want to know how much you're going to give them. What you would say is, Mr. Taylor, I plan on giving you a large sum of money in a short time period. When me and my team construct offers, we like to provide the most educated offer. So I would need you to answer a few questions so I can do that. Simple, right? The most educated offer, you need to ask them questions about the house. The 4 questions I gave you, and that'll help you know the numbers, and they'll give you a feel for what your offer and what ballpark your offer needs to be in. Okay. Another objection is, let me talk to my wife, right? Because if someone's married, that's what most people are gonna say. Let me talk to my wife, because people know in most households the wife is the real decision maker, right? So what you would say is, hey, Mr. Taylor, I know you're transparent with your family. Is there a way we can hop on a call where we all get on the phone and talk about this together? Right? That's what you can tell them. And that shows a lot of trust. That gives you a lot of respect to the seller. You know what I mean? And they'll say, yeah, I'd love to. That way you can run it down to him and his wife. That way you can get this deal and you can help them sell their home. In return for your service, for solving their problem, you will get money. Another question you might get is, what company do you work for? This is what I like to say. I'm an independent investor and I'm looking to acquire property in the area. You know what I mean? Just say I'm an independent investor, no company, and I'm just looking to acquire and invest in the area. That's all you have to say. You know, I really don't like giving out my company name until I know that someone's interested, because someone could try to report, right, your company name because they don't like getting called. So don't do that. I wouldn't advise you to do that. Okay. Another objection you might get, if you happen to call a fix and flipper or another wholesaler. You might happen to call another wholesaler. You may see a listing on Craigslist, which I'm going to show you how to know if it's a wholesaler or not. But yeah, you might see a listing on Craigslist and you might think it's a seller and it's not. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm going to let you know right now, sellers do not know what wholesaling is at all. Okay? So let's say someone asks, are you a wholesaler? Or they ask, like, let's say you show the property off to cash buyers. The seller might ask, why do you have these other people? Or why does it say assignment? What is an assignment? There's all that, right? What you would say is, I have multiple ways I handle deals. Sometimes depending on the specifics of the deal, I do work with the group of investors, right? And those are partners. When you talk about cash buyers, those are partners, right? So when you're wholesaling, and let's say they're at the title company, right? Because you didn't go because you're virtual, right? And the seller just sees the cash buyer, and she probably might ask you in a text or something like, hey, where you at? Say, hey, my partner's there. That is your partner in the deal. You consider that your partner. I work with partners on deals. Say I'm a wholesaler, right? Another objection you might get is, why did you pick our house? Why did you call us, right? Okay, what I like to say is, me and my team actually have been reaching out to homeowners in your area to potentially acquire their property. This is our top target market at the moment. This is why I'm calling, to actually see if you'd be interested in selling, right? Yeah, you let them know that you've been calling addresses in the area and that you simply want to see if they're interested in selling. And then you get your answer right there. Okay. And they might ask, on top of that, taking that a step further, where did you get my number? What you want to say is, well, me and my team work with a software company. We send address to a property we look to acquire. That's it. They ask, what software company? But I can't disclose that information. But I can assure you that if you don't want me to call you anymore, I won't call anymore. If you don't want me to bother you anymore, I won't bother you anymore. If you don't want to do business with me, I won't do business with you. You know what I mean? I won't bother you. Simple. Keep stuff professional. And those are all the objections when it comes to cold calling. That's how you want to handle them. That's how I handle them, right? Because you get them all the time when you're on the phone a lot, okay? And also, let's say a seller does not answer. This is what you want to say in a voicemail. Hey, Mr. Taylor, this is Key. I hope you're doing good. I wanted to reach out to you regarding your property on 123 Main Street. Please call me back at 12345, whatever your number is. It's simple. You know what I mean? When it comes to texting, it's simple. All this is very simple. Wholesaling is a very simple concept. It just takes a lot of work and you have to be consistent. You know, it's not rocket science at all. And I'm gonna break everything down to y'all to put y'all in the best position. But it comes down to consistency, man. I'm telling y'all.